what are you going to do with all these newspapers? I know, paper pots. Paper pots are a fun way to make containers for your seedlings, particularly those seedlings that don't like to have their roots interrupted when they're installed in the garden. So things like squash and watermelons, corn, you don't want to put those into 6-pack cells. You need to have something that's going to be biodegradable. So newspaper pots make great containers for them. All it takes is just a couple minutes of your time, and you can have a whole flat full of containers ready for your seedlings in just a couple minutes. All right, to make paper pots, you need newspaper and a tin can. You can use can from soup or tomato paste and things like that. Just remember that the size of the can determines the size of your paper pot. All right, so let's do this. So what you want to do is cut out a strip of newspaper. Then fold it in thirds. Now, you're going to cut these strips into 3 strips. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just want 3 long strips. So we now have enough paper right here to make 3 pots. Okay, to make your paper container, just place your can on your strip of newspaper, leaving about 1 inch off the bottom of the can, and then just roll it up. When it's rolled up, turn it over and hold on to this space where the rolling stopped, and push it over the top of the can. Now, place it back on the table and give it a good hard press down, and that'll help the bottom get secured. And then just shimmy it off the can and you have a container. Now, if this has trouble coming unfolded, you can fold this down, and that'll give it just a little bit of extra security so that it won't fall over. And this is now ready. You can put soil in there, and you are ready to plant your seeds. Once your pots are filled with soil and you've got your seeds in there, it's time to water. Now, you don't want to water these guys from the top like you would a normal container because of this paper. So the way to do this is to water from the bottom, and the water will then soak up into the container. So get a tray similar to this one. It's available at local garden centers for cheap. They're waterproof, so you can actually put water in it. So I like to give these guys about enough to really get in there. 1/2 inch. Probably good enough. And as you might be able to see, the water is already starting to creep up. And within about an hour, this whole container is going to be soaking wet, and it'll seep in, and then every time you need to water them, just add more water into the tray. Okay, so once your pots are finished and you have your seedlings starting to grow, it's time to install them. All right, so in installing these, you're going to install them just like any other container. Make a nice deep hole for it. Drop it in. Now, take note here that the paper is still above the ground. If I leave it like this, the water is going to evaporate out of the ground by being wicked up through this thing. So make sure that all paper is completely underground. And this guy is now ready to grow. Well, now that you know how to make paper pots, I'd wager that you'll be going to all of your neighbors' houses asking for their newspapers. Well, have fun. Thank you for joining us.